You are about to receive the formal notice. The courts have reached their decision regarding the money that was taken from you, and justice is about to be carried out. That person who has cheated you, deceived you, and taken what is properly yours is not only going to pay it back, they are going to go to prison for their actions. During the time that you have been patient, the legal system has discovered everything, including the paper trail, the lies, and the fraud. The law has been quietly working in your favor. Your finances are being returned, your name is being cleared, and someone you know is set to serve time in prison for the crimes they committed against you. Everything has been brought into equilibrium by the universe, and there is nothing that can be done to prevent what is going to happen. The letter arrives without any prior notice, and it is thick and heavy in your hands. It bears an official government seal, and your name is emblazoned in bold. It is the kind of envelope that causes a shift in reality the instant it is opened. It is inside these pages that you will find confirmation of what you have always believed, but never had the proof to declare. The courts have been investigating in silence, painstakingly developing a case that will change everything. An investigation that is so conclusive and so indisputable that there is no room for those who plotted against you to escape punishment. They have unearthed the financial fraud that was done in your name. Every dishonest maneuver that was traced, every stolen transaction that was catalogued, and every falsified document now serves as indisputable evidence of the betrayal that was orchestrated against you throughout this financial scam. You used to be able to pick up on whispers, but today you can hear them scream in writing and legal precedent. The legal system operates with a specific aim. It gathers evidence in the shadows until the truth becomes indisputable evidence. Your case has reached that threshold, which is the moment when quiet gives way to consequences, the moment when power moves, and the moment when those who prospered in deception are forced into exposure. The wheels of justice turn at their own rate, grinding toward inevitability, toward you, toward this reckoning that no one can avert or postpone anymore. This is not a random occurrence. The wheels of justice turn. Those years of covert misconduct have finally reached the moment of reckoning, and the universe has decreed that the time has come for them to be brought to justice. These documents provide information about assets that you were unaware existed, such as money that had been rotting away in accounts that were designed to keep you in the dark, property that had been signed away in your absence, and your name buried in the deed as if you were a ghost, although ghosts do not sign documents. And at this moment, the truth is crying out from the grave of opportunities that were taken away from them. Your ancestry is a source of power that is very old, indisputable, and valuable. Theft was not a normal occurrence. Rather, it was a premeditated theft of money that had been passed down through generations and was intended for you, your birthright, and your legacy. In addition to money, they concealed a wide range of assets, including land holdings, investment portfolios, and trust funds that were founded several generations ago and were all designated for you. Your branch was purposefully removed from official records, and documentation. Lineages were altered and twisted. Relatives muttered about family affairs behind closed doors. Family trees can be trimmed in order to divert resources. It was a deliberate attempt to prevent you from learning the reality that those discussions were designed to be. Great-grandparents were responsible for establishing safeguards for their offspring. Nevertheless, those safeguards were systematically undermined by an individual. It is not through trumpets that royal blood announces its presence. Rather, it is through the veins that it flows, seemingly oblivious of its own strength until occasions such as this. This exact scenario has been experienced by powerful families throughout history. The selected successor being separated from their destiny by deception, the legitimate inheritor being kept in the dark while others feast on their abundance. Romanovs, Habsburgs, and Windsors are just a few examples of families who have followed this pattern. Your narrative adheres to this time-honored pattern, which states that every dynasty has its own secret heirs and stolen legacies. The difference is that you have lived long enough to witness the arrival of justice. The riches was rightfully yours from the moment you were born, and the courts have validated this fact. In order to betray someone, you need access, personal knowledge, and trust. The individuals who were responsible for this theft were not strangers. They were present at your dinner table, they were present at your festivities, and they appeared to look out for your best interests. She is a matriarch with calculating eyes, the woman who pretended to nurture while secretly destroying, and her signature appears on multiple documents that transfer your assets to other locations. The loyal friend who never quite explained their sudden prosperity, their concerned expressions concealing ruthless ambition fed by your stolen resources. The patriarch who enforced family rules designed to keep you compliant, confused, and dependent. His authority built on foundations of your lost wealth. And the friend who never quite explained their sudden prosperity. This resulted in the creation of a complex mythology, which included tales of family hardships at times when abundance was the fact, as well as tales of modest means while your inheritance paid their secret indulgences. These crimes were not committed on the spur of the moment. Rather, they were deliberate choices made over the course of decades, with the intention of stealing not only money, but also identity. In addition to stealing money, they also took the truth about who you are. This was their greatest robbery. The courts have succeeded in unraveling every single thread of falsehood, identifying every single conspirator, and documenting every single treachery. The story of Moses, who was raised in the house of Pharaoh while his true identity was concealed. Rulers throughout history who were separated from their crowns via complicated machinations. Your story matches these ancient patterns of chosen ones being withheld from their rightful place. Your narrative concludes with restoration, rather than with continuous deception, which is the difference. There is no deception in legal documents. Official seals are proof of the truth. There is no room for doubt in the decision. You are the legitimate owner of all assets that were taken away from you in the past. Each phrase in the legal language is specific. For example, fraudulent conveyance, unlawful conversion of assets, and breach of fiduciary obligation are all phrases that document how they took what was intended for you in a methodical manner. It is beyond reasonable doubt that the courts have validated your position, as your name is included in the portion of every legal document that is designated for the rightful claimant. All of the roots that go back to the people you trusted are shown in the bank records, which disclose the pathways that your wealth was diverted through. These include investments disguised behind corporate veils and assets that were transferred through shell companies. A comprehensive analysis of the evidence was conducted by the judges, and their conclusions were unanimous. It is quite rare for the judicial system to act with such confidence unless the case is completely sealed. Restitution is a legal notion that requires full restoration, which means that whatever was taken must be returned along with interest. Every dollar and every transaction was tracked down by financial forensics, which resulted in the creation of an elaborate facade that concealed your true value. Your name is being removed from any bogus documents. Your reputation is being restored, and your true place in succession is being re-established. The laws that govern the universe are unchangeable, and this means that equilibrium must eventually be restored. What the courts are doing is merely formalizing what the cosmic justice system required. As the decree has been signed and the process has been started, you should get ready for the restoration of everything that was stolen. Their comfortable existence was funded by your inheritance, which included vacation properties purchased with diverted trust fund payments, luxury vehicles acquired through falsified loan documents bearing your forged signature, and private education that was financed by investment accounts established for your benefit. Their lifestyle was built on stolen foundations. They flaunted wealth that they had never earned and position that was acquired by the use of your birthright. The betrayal extends beyond the immediate family. Extended relatives did not speak up. Financial advisors ignored the situation, and legal counsel produced agreements that they knew concealed theft. Everyone who benefited must be held accountable for their actions. All of the individuals who took part in the program have been identified by the courts, and their names have been mentioned in official proceedings. There is paperwork that verifies their participation. These were not folks who were struggling to make ends meet and would steal out of desperation. Rather, they were persons who were privileged and greedily accumulated more than their fair share. The rules for sentencing at the federal level are very clear. Punishments for financial crimes that involve trust abuses are extremely severe. This material provides evidence that many felonies were committed across state lines. Their names are permanently recorded in court records. These are criminal charges that cannot be removed, and they are public records that are accessible to anyone who is conducting a background check on them. Reputations that have been built up over the course of lifetimes are destroyed when they are exposed to the harsh light of judicial proceedings. Community standing is lost when fraud is uncovered. Having a felony conviction tied to your professional credentials renders them completely worthless. The perpetrator of the crime is facing the heaviest possible sentence, which is years spent in prison contemplating the ruin that their avarice caused. Country club accommodations are not available in federal facilities for the purpose of dealing with financial offenses of this nature. Those who helped commit the crime are subject to a corresponding punishment, reduced sentences in exchange for their testimony, terms that restrict their movement, and additional employment opportunities. Houses, vehicles, investment accounts, and everything else that was purchased with stolen monies are all returned to their rightful owners. Financial activities, which include any assets acquired through illegal means, are subject to seizure. They felt that their power was unquestionable, that their control was unbreakable, and that their crimes were never discovered. They never ever dreamed that they would have to stand in front of a judge, read detailed details of their deception, never imagined that their names would be included in court documents that described intricate fraud schemes, and never expected the cold certainty of legal penalties. This fatal fault, which has been shared by major criminal enterprises throughout history, is the notion that authority possesses the ability to protect forever. Roman emperors, medieval lords, and modern financial crooks are all subject to judgment at some point in their lives. As soon as they made the decision to choose dishonesty over honesty, to abandon integrity, and to prioritize personal wealth over familial responsibilities, their destiny was set in stone. Simply put, the courts are carrying out the conclusion that was always going to be the case. Authority is transferred instantly. Because of the declaration made by the court, the reality has been reshaped. Although in the past they had complete power, you now have the authority. Legal proclamation, rather than gradual shifting, is the means by which the transition takes place. You are now in possession of assets that were previously frozen in their accounts. Properties that have their names on the titles are now yours as a result of a court order, and investment portfolios that they manage are now under your control. On financial documents, their signatures are no longer considered valid. Instead, yours is the only authorization that is necessary. A full inversion of the power dynamic takes place. Those who dictated terms now accept instructions. Those who controlled resources now solicit access. And those who made decisions now wait for guidance. The results of this shift are not limited to monetary matters. Your voice now bears the authority that they formerly claimed. The actions you make will determine the future, and your truth will overwrite the narrative they have constructed. As a result of new realities, social circles reorganize themselves, family gatherings change the polarity of the situation, and business meetings rearrange the seating. It is via the formal recognition of your appropriate status that you receive the respect that was formerly bestowed upon them. Talks come to a halt when you enter rooms for reasons that are completely different from those of the other people. This reclaiming restores more than just wealth. It restores your legitimate influence, your deserved status, and your capacity to maneuver the world without being constrained by artificial limits. It is only because you have lived for such a long time under false pretenses that the transition feels unsettling to you. A realignment with the truth, rather than a divergence from it, is indicated by the discomfort. The royal blood is directed in the appropriate direction. The throne is returned to the person who is rightfully occupying it, and the crown is placed where it should be. The judicial system just codified the cosmic correction that was already taking place, which is the universe re-establishing normal order after a prolonged interruption. There was never a time when your power was totally gone. Rather, it was only latent, waiting, and accumulating strength for this ultimate moment of restoration. Pay close attention to them, since their reactions will disclose everything. Some individuals choose for complete denial, asserting, "I never knew. This is all a misunderstanding." They argue that the courts are incorrect in their attempts to rewrite reality, despite the fact that evidence is mounting against them. Some people try to use strategic apologies, which are expressions of sorrow that are carefully worded, but do not admit blame. For example, they would say something like, "I'm sorry you feel hurt. We never meant for things to turn out this way." These are hollow words that are designed to manipulate without acknowledging responsibility. The reaction that is the most telling is one of mute panic. Their public appearances convey a sense of calmness, but their private activities reveal a sense of panic. This is evidenced by their frantic calls to attorneys, sudden interest in offshore banking restrictions, and quiet talks concerning extradition treaties. While the remaining assets are being discreetly transferred to concealed accounts, courageous remarks are made to family members, and at the same time, confident reassurances are conveyed while escape plans are being implemented. After years of separation, they suddenly reach out to you with surprising messages expressing concern for your well-being and offers to discuss family concerns in private. Each contact and attempt at manipulation is made with the intention of protecting themselves. In spite of everything that has happened, there are those who attempt to capitalize on emotional relationships by stating, "After everything we've been through together, we're still family." They make overt attempts to take advantage of sentimentality for the purpose of gaining a legal advantage. Other people make use of intimidation strategies, hidden threats, inferences about potential consequences, and suggestions that pursuing justice may cost more than it is worth. Don't you remember how I was there for you? Lastly, desperate efforts by those who have lost genuine power. Those who are the most calculated will attempt to divide your supporters, propagate different versions of events, and create confusion through contradicting narratives, techniques that have been used for a long time by people who are used to manipulating others by deception. Their words are meaningless, and their deeds have long since revealed their true nature. When confronted with evidence that could not be refuted, the courts anticipated every possible response, defense strategy, and attempt at manipulation. The verdict that had already been handed down was not altered in any way by their responses. Everything that was constructed on stolen foundations crumbles at the same time. Bank accounts are frozen through a court order, credit cards are denied without warning, and asset seizure notices are handed to several properties. Their financial reality changes overnight. In the same amount of time, the social repercussions manifest themselves. Invitations are withdrawn, phone calls are not returned, and formerly close friends suddenly become unavailable. When criminal charges are made public, a person's standing in the community is destroyed. The professional repercussions are also devastating. As licenses are revoked due to felony convictions, board positions are terminated immediately, business partnerships are dissolved through emergency proceedings, and career accomplishments are permanently tainted. Marriages fall apart when there is no longer any financial security. Children distance themselves from parents who have been disgraced, and extended family members choose sides in the inevitable division. All of these things cause family structures to break apart when they are put under pressure. Stress-related health problems, insomnia, anxiety disorders, and the body betraying the mind's failure to understand entire life collapse are all examples of the physical manifestations of psychological consequences. The amount of money they made through deception is precisely proportional to the rate at which they destroyed everything. The people who benefited the most are the ones who suffer the most severe consequences. They go through the same things that they caused you to go through: uncertainty, instability, and a loss of identity. It is the symmetry that brings forth its own justice. Even though they are making frantic efforts to discredit the evidence, their desperate attempts to control the damage are consistently unsuccessful. Their legal appeals are denied, character witnesses disappear, and the evidence continues to be irrefutable. The universe guarantees that every action that is taken against you will have a complete consequence. And this is not because of any supernatural intervention, but rather because of the natural outcomes that result from their own choices. This is not your vengeance. Rather, it is the function of natural law to restore equilibrium. It is not your responsibility to bear the load of their devastation. The decisions they made generated these repercussions long before today's revelation. You do not need to rejoice or bemoan their demise. All you need to do is observe the universal reality that falsehood will eventually fall under its own weight. The truth grants instantaneous freedom, and perfect understanding frees people from long-held shackles. Your instincts were right the whole time. The discrepancy between what they informed you and what you sensed caused you to experience cognitive dissonance on a consistent basis. That battle inside oneself is resolved today. As your intuition and reality come into alignment, you will experience a release of tension from your body. The certainty is almost physical. You are not joining reality. Reality is finally catching up to what you have always suspected. The exhaustion that comes from constant doubt is finally lifted out of your system. This insight disrupts patterns extending beyond your lifetime. Generational curses of money manipulation, ancestral cycles of identity suppression, familial traditions of power distortion. It was already established by spiritual law that the chosen individual, upon recognizing their true identity, is the one who permanently breaks the spell. The courts formalized this determination. Previous generations were subjected to this deception, and they perished as a result. Your ancestors witnessed their birthrights being taken away without any legal recourse. When you awaken, this cycle is broken for everyone who comes after you. The psychological emancipation outweighs the financial restoration. Liberation from gaslighting, release from created limits, escape from false confines erected around your potential. The curse requires ignorance to sustain its power. Knowledge disintegrates its foundations utterly. You see everything clearly for the first time. Relationships, motivations, patterns, history. The full picture previously obscured by purposeful deception. This clarity extends beyond your current situation. Your perception becomes more acute with regard to all relationships, all interactions, and all dynamics that were previously obscured by the distortion field that surrounded your existence. The liberation causes a transformation in your bodily experience, including the disappearance of tension headaches, a reduction in chronic pain, and a significant improvement in the quality of sleep. Your body reacts upon a cellular level to true alignment. When you manage to break this curse, you not only free yourself, but you also free everyone who is connected to you. Inheritance is passed down to subsequent generations in the form of freedom rather than servitude, truth rather than deception, and clarity rather than confusion. The courts just documented what the cosmos had already acknowledged. Your awakening was unavoidable, and your restoration was promised from the very beginning. Opportunities appear out of nowhere, and paths that were before blocked suddenly become accessible. There is no resistance to the flow of financial abundance. Accounts that were previously empty suddenly have an abundance of money. Investment possibilities arise just when they are required, and resources become aligned with your requirements without any effort on your part. This does not constitute a mere coincidence. Rather, it is a natural law that acknowledges genuine authority. When true nobility is present, it automatically attracts the appropriate abundance. Pay close attention to the people who suddenly appear in your life. Many of them will be in a position to advance your interests, and they will arrive as mentors who will provide you with the exact guidance you need for your next evolution. Protection surrounds you without conscious summoning. Legal shields activate preemptively. Financial safeguards engage automatically. Spiritual boundaries establish themselves around your energy field, and doors previously locked against you swing open at your approach. Institutions formerly hostile now welcome your presence, and exclusive circles suddenly extend membership. The wealth returning exceeds what was stolen. The universe operates through abundance, not exact accounting. Your restoration includes compound interest on everything previously diverted. Your real power magnetizes precisely what supports your best expression. People, opportunities, resources, information, each arrives just when needed without laborious effort. This does not constitute a mere coincidence. Rather, it is a natural law that acknowledges genuine authority. When true nobility is present, it automatically attracts the appropriate abundance. Watch carefully who suddenly enters in your life. Many may attempt connection just once your restoration becomes public.